In this video, we are going to create our web API using the .NET CLI, and then we are going to run it using Visual Studio Code. So for that, we have to go to a terminal because it is in there that we can use the .NET CLI. So let me shift right click here and say open PowerShell window here so that I can have a terminal pointing to this folder. And in here I can say .NET new, enter, and this will give me the list of options that I have to create either a file or a whole solution using the .NET CLI. For example, here we have console for console applications. Here we have WinForms for WinForm applications. We have page for Razor pages, Blazor server and Blazor Wasm. But what we're looking for is web API. With this, we can create an ASP.NET Core application configured to be a web API. So let's do that. I will say .NET new web API -o, which means output, because I want to output the project into movies API, which is going to be a folder in which I am going to put my project. So let me press enter, and this will create our movies API project, and it is done. Now I will say cd movies tab, enter, and then I will say code dot in order to open my web API using Visual Studio Code, and here it is. Now as you can see here on the left, we have the files of our project. We have this controllers folder, and here we have a controller. We are going to study this structure and these files later in the future in a dedicated module that we have only for learning the basics of web API development with ASP.NET Core. But for now, let's just see this class, this weather forecast controller class, which is a controller, which means that this is a class that contains methods that will run in response to an HTTP request made to our web API. And in this case, we only have one method here, which is this get, which is a method that will run when an HTTP GET request gets made into our web API, specifically into this endpoint that we have here, which is equal to weather forecast. Again, we're going to talk more in detail about this in the future, but for now I just want to test our web API. So let me run it. In order to run it, I need a terminal, so let me go to terminal here, new terminal, and in here I will say .NET run, and I'll press enter, and here as you can see we have two URLs through which we can go to our application. I will use the one that says HTTPS localhost 5001, so control click here, and you are going to see that we are getting a 404 because there is nothing at this address. But if I go to /swagger, you are going to see that we get this Swagger page here. What is this? This is OpenAPI in action. OpenAPI refers to a standard that we can use in order to present the endpoints of our web API in such a way that other systems can use. So basically, through this Swagger page, users can inspect and learn about how to use our web API. For example, here we have this endpoint weather forecast, and it says that it can respond to an HTTP GET request. That is why we have this GET here. And in order to test this endpoint, we have to make an HTTP GET request into this /weather forecast endpoint that we have here. There are two ways of doing this. One of them is to click on here, that will expand this out, and I can say try it now, execute, and as you can see, we're making an HTTP GET request into this URL, and that is giving us this response that we have here. The other way of testing this is to do it directly through Google Chrome. I will paste this URL here and I will press enter. And now as you can see, we have the same response here in the user's browser. Now, maybe you are seeing something different. Maybe you are not seeing this in this friendly manner. That is because I have an extension called JSON View that beautifies this JSON response. So let me go to Google, let's say JSON View Chrome, and that will take me into this page, and here I can click on this link and you are going to see that we have JSON View, which is an extension for Google Chrome. I can install it, but I already have it. And with this, I can go back here and this should be beautified. Now, you may have a problem with HTTPS on your computer. That is because you need to install and trust a self-signed certificate on your machine. This is really easy to do with the .NET CLI. Let's go back to Visual Studio Code and do that. I will stop running the application and I do that by pressing Ctrl+C. And now I will write the following command: .NET dev certs https --trust. .NET dev certs https --trust, and I'll press enter. And in my case it says that a prompt will be shown if there was not previously a certificate installed, because in my case I already have that. I didn't get any prompt, but if you do, then click on yes in order to install the certificate. And then after that you have to come here to Chrome. You may have to close it, so I will close it, and then you did have to say .NET run one more time. And by the way, you have to close all instances of Chrome, not only the one that you have with your web API. And then you'll come here, open this one more time, and you can go, for example, to Swagger, and you shouldn't have any more problems with HTTPS.